The other day, I made a video about the message behind the Charlie Kirk tragedy and how God is always speaking. And I want to use this moment to show you how God speaks into our lives and how we can learn to tune in by sharing something that happened to me. And so, my father got sick with cancer a couple years ago. And I believed that he would recover and live several years, but that didn't happen. And his death hit me hard because he played a major role in who I am, and we were close. And even though he had been preparing me for his passing, I didn't want to hear it. I kept telling him, "Stop. You're not going to go anywhere." I now realize I was in denial, not about the cancer, but about him not being here one day. I simply didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to accept that it was his time. And for a while, he seemed to be improving. Then all of a sudden, everything changed. He became unresponsive. And then they put him on an oxygen machine because he was still breathing, even though he was unresponsive. And so I sat in the living room with him. Everything was off. The TV was off. The only thing on in the house were the lights. And so to keep my mind off things, I prayed and I played worship music on my laptop. And when midnight came, I closed my eyes for a few minutes because I was tired. I was exhausted. And then suddenly something nudged me to wake up. And so I got up, I looked around the room, and I felt complete stillness. And I looked up at the TV and I saw a rainbow on the screen of a TV that was off. The time on the TV said 12:22. Again, the TV was off. But there was the rainbow and the time 12:22. I got off the couch and tried to run towards my father. But it felt like I was running in slow motion. When I got there and I looked at him, he had passed away. The oxygen machine had stopped. I was in disbelief. I was sobbing, crying, screaming. I realized he had finished his race here on earth. His assignment came to an end. At that moment, I didn't understand the message until later. So let's break down the message. The time 12:22, Luke 12:22. Do not worry about your life, for life is more than food, the body, and more than clothes. Hebrews 12:22. But you have come to Mount Zion, to the city of the living God. Job 12:22. He reveals the things of darkness and brings deep darkness into the light. And so death is dark for us because we're losing someone that we love, someone that we know. And in Job 12:22, it reminded me that God brings light into darkness. The stillness in that room was the heavens opening up the gates, angels coming to take my father home. The rainbow was God's promise being fulfilled. I had prayed for my parents' salvation, and at that moment I felt God reestablishing a covenant that had been broken in our family line. Even though my father was the pillar of strength, wisdom, and hope in our family, God was letting me know there's no need to worry. Your earthly father is no longer with you, but I am with you. See, God always speaks, and he confirms his messages through his scriptures. That's why reading the word matters. It helps us to recognize when God is speaking and not mistaken it for our imagination, for luck, or for something else. And so I hope this story encouraged you to read the Bible and pay attention, because God is always speaking to us each and every day, not just on the world stage, but at the personal level. Are you tuning in?